Morning, it's the old Griff. I want to talk to you a little bit today about kids. I was asked once, what do I think is the problem with kids today? Well, of course, it's the old Griff's opinion, but the bottom line today is parents. You know, back in my day, my parents had time to teach me things. They didn't hand me a smartphone. They didn't hand me a video game and say, oh, we're taking care of the kids. Well, you know, by learning the hard way and growing up, I learned how to take care of my responsibilities. And my responsibilities is taking care of me, my family, my dog, which I'm very fortunate to have a good dog. But you know, I sat here in the park, by the park, and I watch kids all day long out there. They're doing what they call just hanging out. Well, you know, when I was their age, I was mowing yards and making a little money. Not much, because they didn't pay much in those days. And I didn't even have a gas lawnmower. I had the old push mower. I used to work for a guy up on McCarroll Street, an old man. I was like 12 years old. He hired me every Saturday. I got out in his garden. I hoed his weeds. I mowed his yard. He'd say to me, Jim, you better come in now. The sun's really getting hot. I said, nope, got work to do. Well, that's the ethics I was raised with. It's just like the new gun laws. They're passing gun laws that you have to lock them up in your house so the kids can't get them. Well, you know, when I was a little kid, I was 12 years old, my dad took me hunting first time, and I hunted every year after that. When my oldest son was 9 years old, I took a Remington target master and I cut it down to a little bitty 22. It'd be like a chipmunk today. I took him, my youngest boy, out. We'd go shooting. But you know, their friends would come over and say, oh, let's see your gun. Nope, they're not to be looked at. That's because they were raised right. I have two older boys. You know, I never spanked them in my life. But my oldest boy, when he was going to school, he'd have his friends over. And I'd say, hey, Cam, go out and get me a screwdriver. Bam, just like that. He stopped what he was doing with his friends, went out, got the screwdriver, came back, gave it to me. I didn't have to tell him 20 times. Well, that's what I'm saying about parents today. They give their kids a smartphone, they give them a video. Recently, I was like in Walmart, and for about several times, I'd see this group of four come into Walmart. They'd come in, they looked like they was anywhere from 13 to 14, 15. Here they are, picking out every toy off the shelf, playing with them. They'd get this basket that had a big bunch of balls in it, and they'd start pitching baskets from a distance, and they'd bounce off everything. If I'd have done that in my day, I want to tell you right now, my parents would have got on me. So I'd like to just say this to the parents. Start taking time to teach your kids right and wrong. The first rule that I learned when I was a little kid is simple. Now pay attention, because this goes for everybody, even of all ages. The first rule is, if it's not yours, leave it alone. Well, I want to thank Walk This Way with Media for letting me have my piece and say as I want to. I get to talk and say what I want to. It's not like going to the city council or commissioners where they give you 3 minutes. You can't say what you want. But then on the other hand, they don't care because they don't want to hear it in the first place. It's like talking to a brick wall. Well, anyway, that's the old Griff for today, so thank you a lot.